Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about bones of cranium. So let's start our topic with introduction. Cranium is part of skull that surrounds and protects the brain. It forms the upper and back portion of skull and provides attachment point for muscles of head and neck. Cranium consists of 8 bones which are firmly joined together by immovable joints that are called sutures. These bones create a strong protective cavity for the brain while also forming the structure of the head. Classification of cranial bone. There are 8 cranial bones, 4 of which are unpaired bone that include one frontal bone, one occipital bone, one sphenoid bone and one ethmoid bone, and 4 of which are paired bones that include 2 parietal bones and 2 temporal bones. Now let's talk about these cranial bones one by one. So first cranial bone we have is frontal bone. As you can see in the diagram, the yellow color bone in front of the skull at the cranial region is the frontal bone. It is unpaired bone, that means there will be one frontal bone in every skull. Then we have is the parietal bone. You can see in diagram the blue color bone is parietal bone. It is paired bone, that means there are 2 parietal bones in every skull. Next bone we have is temporal bone. As you can see in the diagram, the red color bone is temporal bone. It is also the paired bone, so that means there are 2 temporal bone in every skull. Then we have is occipital bone. You can see in diagram the purple color bone at the back and below region is occipital bone. It is unpaired bone. Next we have is sphenoid bone. You can see in diagram the green color bone is the sphenoid bone in the lateral side along with the temporal bone it is located. Next we have is ethmoid bone. Ethmoid bone is slightly visible in this diagram and it is unpaired bone. Now let's talk about these cranial bones one by one. So first cranial bone is frontal bone. It is located at the front of skull. It forms the forehead, the roof of eye sockets and parts of nasal cavity. It contains the frontal sinuses which reduce the weight of skull and resonate the voice. It articulates with the parietal bones at the coronal suture. Next cranial bone we have is a parietal bone. That is a large bare bone located on the sides and roof of cranium. They meet each other at the sagittal suture on the top of skull. They articulate with the frontal bone anteriorly, occipital bone posteriorly, and temporal bone laterally. Next cranial bone we have is the temporal bone. They are found at the lower side of the skull near the ear. Important features of temporal bone include external auditory meatus, mastoid process that is attachment for neck muscles, styloid process that is attachment for tongue and throat muscles, and petrous part which houses the organs of hearing and balance. It also forms the part of temporomandibular joint which is with the mandible. Next cranial bone we have is the occipital bone. It is located at the back and base of the skull. It contains the foramen magnum, that is a large opening for the passage of spinal cord. It articulates with the first cervical vertebra, that is Atlas, to allow nodding movement of the head. It also provides attachment for the neck muscles. Next cranial bone we have is the sphenoid bone. It is a butterfly-shaped bone that is situated at the base of skull. It extends across the cranium, connecting with many other cranial bones. It contains a sella turcica, that is a depression that houses the pituitary gland. It also contributes to the floor of cranium and the sides of the orbits. Next cranial bone we have is ethmoid bone. It is a light spongy bone that is located between the eyes. It contributes to the medial wall of orbits, the roofs and sides of nasal cavity and part of nasal septum. It contains the cribriform plate which has tiny openings for the passage of olfactory nerves that is responsible for the sense of smell. It houses the ethmoidal ear cells which are small sinuses. Functions of cranial bone include: first function is protection, as cranial bones surround and safeguard the brain. Second function is support, as cranial bones provide structural framework for the skull. Third function is muscle attachment, as they offer attachment points for the muscles of head and muscles of neck. Fourth function is it houses special organs, as they contain structures related to the sight, hearing, balance and smell. Fifth function is opening for communication, as there are foramina that allows nerves and blood vessels to pass through, connecting the brain with the other parts of the body. Conclusion of this lecture video. The cranium consists of 8 bones, four of which are paired and four of which are unpaired, that are intricately joined to form a strong protective case for the brain. Each bone has a unique feature and specific roles, from housing sensory organs to providing pathways for nerves and vessels. Together, they ensure both protection and functionality, making the cranium one of the most essential parts of human skeleton. And this was all about cranial bones. Hopefully, you liked the video. If you do, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Thank you for watching.